What up, Homedawgs? My name is Gokey Gamer, and welcome everybody to week 1 of Josh's League, where we are taking on one of the commissioners themselves, Game Boy Josh, or GB Josh, coach of the Starter Supremes. Very excited for this battle. Very excited to be using this team for the first time because I feel really this is a very different team from what I typically draft. That it just makes me very excited to use it. Here you can see the matchup. I'm not going to go into detail about like the team matchups or anything, because that's what my Ko-fi page is for. So if you want to see a more detailed team breakdown of the team, then consider checking out my Ko-fi down below. You'll also see Game Boy Josh's side of the battle and their video linked down in the description below, so definitely be sure to check that out as well. But yeah, this is a very scary team, but with like a ton of major threats. This is an open Terra league. They have Terra SALAMENCE and Terra Scizor, and obviously we have like our Terras as well. A very scary matchup indeed, but I feel weirdly confident going into this. Also, I guess I should have said before that the reason I'm doing a post-com for this video is because of the fact that if you remember my week 1 for NBBL, the audio difficulties there, same thing happened with this game, unfortunately, so it is what it is. But anyways, very scary matchup. I'm very scared of like Battle Bond Greninja in particular, because that's the one thing that outspeeds Regieleki naturally. Like, that's the one thing that outspeeds Regieleki on this team. Obviously, Landorus can come in clutch. A Destiny Bond Quillfish really scares me because that can like really do a lot of damage against Golden Go. But other than that, I really like my matchup into this team. I think I have a very solid matchup. Meloetta could also be like a bulky variant and just really put in a lot of work. But, you know, obviously Mence and Scizor, you know, could put in work too, but that's besides the point. We're going to go ahead and jump into the battle. I'm really excited about my team. The only Terra captain I'm bringing is Terra Fire Colossal with the Binding Band. We're finally bringing back Binding Band again. I've been wanting to do that for so long. I love Fire Spin, Binding Band, Colossal, and I felt like this matchup, it was really good. So just to get a lot of chip to allow like Regieleki or my max HP, max defense Golden Go to really pop off. And here we see Clefable, SALAMENCE, Scizor, Greninja, Meloetta, and Serena. I was really shocked not to see Quillfish or Landorus. That does make me wish I had brought Recover on my Golden Go, but that's why I have the Citrus Berry. Golden Go was meant to hard counter Quillfish every single time. I understand now why my opponent didn't bring it. Obviously, like the top 3 Pokemon right here, Golden Go, Gliscor, and Amoonguss, all do really well into Quillfish, so it makes sense. I was really shocked not to see Landorus, because that gives me the freest lead with the Regieleki, because while I am a physical variant, I am running the, I am running, physical variant. So, you know, I do have Volt Switch, you know, but it's not gonna do as much damage against most things, but it is what it is. Obviously, Serena is there, and that could be an issue, but that's beside the point. And obviously, I can't extreme speed the Serena, so Serena's kind of the hard wall, but I can still Volt Switch around very freely. Maybe wish I was a special variant in this game, but it is what it is. Anyways, my opponent decides to go into Drogon, which is the Mence, and I'm like, okay, this is very scary, because it's a Terra SALAMENCE. And we see no Intimidate, which means I'm like, okay, this is Moxie. It's probably going to Dragon Dance. Like, it's probably going to go for Dragon Dance, and it's going to do a lot of bad things. So I decided to do a calc to see, like, okay, can Golden Go handle this? And I'm like, okay, Golden Go can actually handle this, you know, and like Golden Go covers both stabs. I know that this is Terra Dragon. I should also specify Terra Dragon, SALAMENCE, and Terra Water Scizor, which makes sense. You know, if Scizor came, it was going to be a defensive typing for Colossal, so it makes sense. But I'm like, okay, this is terrifying. So I'm going to go for a Volt Switch here. It does a decent chunk of damage, as you'll soon see here. Again, really making me wish that I was a special variant, because that would be that would have done a lot of chip there, which would have been amazing. I do a calc, and I'm like, okay, Golden Go can 1v1 this with, like, if they go for Earthquake here, it's fine. And I'm like, okay, this is great. Even at +1, I can take an Earthquake. This is great. I'm going to switch into Golden Go and then fire off and make it rain on the off chance that they go for Earthquake. They go for Dragon Dance here. Very scary. I'm like, oh god, I'm very terrified now. This is a very spooky, scary skeleton. But I'm like, I should still be able to live. I'm an Earth, like, you know, I always live in Earthquake here. I debate about going for Thunder Wave. I do go for Thunder Wave here. I think my better play would have been to make it rain, but that's beside the point. Anyways, they go for Earthquake, and it's a one-shot. This is a max HP, max defense Golden Go, and it just got one shot by Earthquake. I'm like, what the heck just happened? What? I should have always lived that damage. First off, we see the Life Orb, which explains quite a bit. If it wasn't Life Orb, I think I would have lived. But then I realize, for whatever reason, and I'll pull up a screenshot here, SALAMENCE, the first set that comes up on like damage calc automatically for SALAMENCE is a special variant with Earthquake. I have no idea why that's the case. It's so stupid, and I really, really hate that that's what ended up happening here. So I go into Amoonguss, and I'm like, okay, crap, you're probably going for dual wing beat here. This is really unfortunate. I'm thinking about, okay, you know what I could do? I could go into Colossal here, predicting the dual wing beat. It's a very obvious play, and in hindsight, I think getting Rocky Helmet Chip would have been better here, but it is what it is. Like, getting Guaranteed Chip over the possible burn, I think would have been better. But again, if I had gotten the burn, then the Salamence would have been, like, immediately neutered. Obviously, they do go for dual wing beat here. And unfortunately, Volga does not get the burn. It's very sad. It's very, very, very sad. I'm really not playing around this Salamence very well. I am panicking. I'm like, okay, my best chance is Gliscor to take a couple hits and just kill this thing. This is the best play I can make. I really think that. I'm terrified, I'm scared, but yeah, this Salamence, I realize I'm going to lose a few Pokemon to this Salamence, so I need to minimize the damage as much as I can. Predicting the Earthquake this time, I decide to go into Gliscor to try and, like, 1v1 it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go into Gliscor here, and I'm going to pray that I can live. They go for Earthquake. Obviously it doesn't affect me, so I got that play correct. We get the poison off. I have to hope that I can take a single hit. I have to hope that I can tank a Terra Dragon move, or if they go for dual wing beat, I have to hope I can tank a hit. I go for knockoff here. I was really proud of this set too, by the way. Stealth Rocks plus Toxic Spikes looked really, really good into my opponent's team, but that's besides the point. Anyways, I go for knockoff because obviously I can't Earthquake against this thing, and obviously also knockoff would get rid of the Life Orb from this Salamence. So we see the Terra, they see that they're going to Terra Dragon, which means Scizor can no longer Terra, which is great for Colossal, but not great for this particular situation, because now I'm staring down a Terra Dragon Salamence that probably has Outrage and is at +2 Moxie. It's terrifying. We see the Outrage, I pray that I can live, and Survey says I die. Another one shot. This is not good, as you can tell. This is, in fact, very, very horrible. Yeah, it's very bad. It's really, really, really bad. I decide, okay, this is really bad. And at this point, I have to figure out another mod to sack. I go into Regieleki, because I always, even at +1, I do outspeed Salamence. I'm calced for it. I go for Volt Switch. I also forget that this thing is Terra Dragon, so it's not going to kill. And unfortunately, it lives. But it is choice locked into well, not choice locked, but it's locked into Outrage. It's a +3. It's going to kill whatever I send in. So I might as well send in the Rocky Helmet user, Amoonguss. And unfortunately, Amoonguss is most likely going to go down here. So I realize this is my best play. At this point, I literally just have to pick a sack. Do I want it to be Araquanid? Do I want it to be Colossal? Do I want it to be this thing? And I realize it has to be Amoonguss, which is not great. It's absolutely not good at all. Clefable looks really scary now. The Serena looks really scary now. We click the Outrage. Amoonguss goes down, but thankfully, the Rocky Helmet takes it down with it. Life Orb Chip would have done him in anyways. And then again, I could have gone into my Regieleki and just clicked Volt Switch again. But, you know, it is what it is. Finally, this terrifying threat goes down, but after taking out half of my team, it's really, really bad. My opponent played around with that so immensely well. It was very, very impressive, and I have to give hats off to my opponent for how well they played that game. They really did an amazing job. So I'm panicking at this point. I'm like, okay, what do I switch in here? I don't know. Serena could come in. Like, there's a bunch of other Pokemon that could come in. Araquanid has the best matchup against almost everything that isn't Clefable. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go into Araquanid here. I think that's my best play. I think, realistically, what I should have done here is gone into Regieleki, because obviously Volt Switch is very spammable. And, you know, if Meloetta came in, I could surprise it with the Supercell Slam. If something else came in, you know, I could Extreme Speed or whatever, what have you. You know, I could have gone for a Volt Switch. Like, basically, Volt Switch was just very free here, so this is a bit of a mistake on my part. Also, I believe my Regieleki is Naughty, if I remember correctly, which is max attack, or no, is it Adamant? I can't remember, it's either Adamant or Naughty. Naughty, lower special defense, which is why I might have been Naughty. But I think I might have just been Adamant. Which is what it is. I regret that now, but that's besides the point. So I go into Araquanid on Meloetta. I'm like, okay, this is a very ideal matchup for me. I can just click Leech Life for free here. If Clefable comes in, I can Liquidation and do a lot of damage. I am Rest Sleep Talk, which in this case might honestly come in handy because my opponent does not have the best reliable way to hit Araquanid. We do see a U-turn here, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Obviously, my opponent is also could be rocking Side Shock, which will do more damage to Araquanid, but that's beside the point. My guess is like either Scizor or Clefable is coming in, so that's what I'm expecting to see here. Basically, if either or switches in, I go into Colossal, because Colossal does really well against both of them. So I'm like, okay, we're going to see. I recognize this name because I battled Josh before when he had Scizor, and I knew that this was Scizor. So Senior Snips, which, by the way, I love that nickname. That's such a fire nickname for Scizor. We get a little bit of HP chip, you know, we get a little bit of chip on this thing, which is obviously very nice. We see the leftovers, and I'm like, okay, I'm really worried about this thing being Swords Dance. I'm really worried about this thing being Swords Dance. Obviously, Terra Water is not applicable here because of the fact that, obviously, you know, Terra Dragon Salamence already happened, and I still have my Terra. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go into Colossal here and pray to God that this is not, in fact, Swords Dance. Because if it is Swords Dance, it's going to do a crap ton of damage to me, and I'm not going to enjoy it. The most of this thing can do to me is knockoff, so I'm honestly, despite the fact that I would be losing the Binding Bane, I'm hoping that this thing goes for knockoff. That would be the best case scenario for me. At this point, I'm starting to recover from the shock that was the Salamence set and being lied to by my damage calc. Which, granted, it's not the damage calculator's fault, it's my fault. I should have been paying more attention to that. Again, I just saw Earthquake and was like, oh, Earthquake does nothing to Golden Go. I'm gonna go into Golden Go. I regret that now, obviously. It is what it is. But anyways, I go with the Colossal here, and I pray that I don't see a Swords Dance here. And unfortunately, they go for Swords Dance! Yay! We love Swords Dance here in this house. I'm very sad. I'm very scared. At this point, because it's lefties, I'm like, oh crap, this thing probably has investment, which means Heat Crash might not KO. Fire Spin is a guaranteed KO as long as it's not like specially defensive, which I don't think it would be. So I debate on going for Fire Spin here, but I'm like, no. If this Mon goes down without Scizor going down, I lose the game outright. I need to Terastallize, that way I can tank a close combat, and if it hasn't, and then I go for Heat Crash. I have to make this play. And just pray to God that Heat Crash can KO it before it KOs me. Like, that's literally what it comes down to at this point. So I go for the Terra, I Terra Fire, and I'm like, come on, Colossal, I need you to do your thing, buddy. I need you to do your thing. Heat Crash does a lot of damage to my opponent in general, which is really nice. We see the knockoff, we tank it easy. Still no Flame Body, which is very sad, but we do fire off the Heat Crash. Do we pick up the KO? Survey says yes, we do pick up the KO. So Colossal picked up another KO, which is very nice. Not another KO. This is the first KO. Salamence died to Amoonguss. But that's besides the point. Colossal picked up a KO, which is very happy. I'm very happy about Colossal picking up a KO. It's kind of funny because in the NABL, Colossal picked up the first KO for our team. In fact, it was the first KO of the match. But here's the first KO, like real KO for my team, because Amoonguss like passively picked up the KO versus Salamence. So it's kind of funny that Colossal picked up a KO. Our first KO, basically. We're going to see the Greninja come in here, which was the obvious play. I'm really, really scared about this Mon at this point. I go into Arachnoid here because I'm like, okay, I can leech life any damage that this thing wants to do to me. It's most likely a special variant. And Water Balloon does a really good job at walling this thing. So I'm like, okay, I can go into Arachnoid here and be fine. So I'm going to see what this Mon wants to do. I'm going to see what set it is. And my opponent really smartly goes for a Rock Slide predicting the swap. This was such a good play by my opponent. Obviously, I also didn't want to sack Colossal here because Colossal, if Colossal goes down, it gets a Beast Boost, and then Regieleki can't 1v1 it. This reveals Life Orb, and this also reveals that it is in fact Battle Bond, unless for whatever reason it's Torrent. You're not Torrent, you're Battle Bond, because obviously the Protean didn't trigger. So I'm like, oh crap, this is not good. I'm at a loss for what to do here. Do I go into Regieleki? At this point, I'm actually calculating. Do I go into Regieleki? And I have to go into Regieleki here. They might have Water Shuriken. If they do, I just have to bite the bullets. And that's literally what it comes down to. I have to bite the bullets. And, you know, they have to go for Rock Slide here. Otherwise, they're not going to kill Arachnoid. And if I stay in, then I can just fire off a Leech Life, which is obviously, you know, very nice. So I switch out Arachnoid. I opt to go ahead and make the switch. And then I go into my Regieleki. Regieleki comes in here, bada bing, bada boom. It's still not over for me necessarily. Rock Slide pops off, and it does half to my Regieleki. I will say here, Serena looks terrifying. As long as Serena's alive, Regieleki can't win. If Serena goes down, Regieleki low-key might be able to pick up the last remaining KOs that I need. I debate about going for Supercell Slam. It's very free, but I'm like, you know what? Volt Switch does the most damage here. I'm pretty sure. No, I do click Supercell here. I think. I can't remember. We'll figure it out, I guess. Because I'm like, okay, they're probably gonna switch out Greninja here. They really want to save this thing, so I'm gonna go for Volt Switch here, which is the correct play. Overall, I'm fully recovered from Salamence, and I'm just trying to play to my outs, or at the very least, lower the lower the damage output from my opponent. So I go for a Volt Switch here, which does a decent chunk of damage. Obviously not that much because Meloetta is very specially bulky. At this point, I'm just trying to play to my outs. I can still win this game. It's very unlikely, but I can still at the very least put a huge dent into this team. I have to go into Araquanid here. I think about going into Colossal here, but Colossal just doesn't live. At this point, I'm playing as if this thing is Specs, which terrifies me. I go in Water Balloon, and I'm like, okay, I might not live a Specs hit from Psyshock, but I'm going to go for Leech Life here and try to recover as much HP as I can. So, I think Rest was also a very free button click here. I think Rest might have been, honestly, a better button click, but, you know, they go for Psyshock here, bada bing, bada boom, and it one-shots, because it was a crit. I don't remember the crit mattered. It wasn't Specs, so I think because of the fact that it wasn't Specs, I think the crit did matter there, which is very, very, very unfortunate for me, because that essentially loses me the game. I can no longer win. Because it KOs Colossal, Regieleki can't KO it with Supercell. I can really try to kill the Supercell, but it's not going to work. It's not going to work here. So, you know, it's very sad. I'm like, the 4-0 loss is not a great way to start off the season, but you know what? The Week 1 curse is real. The Week 1 curse is valid. There's a lot of really scary teams here, and while I did really like my matchup into this team, my opponent played just so insanely well, and I did not respect SALAMENCE enough. So I'm like, okay, I have to Supercell here and just pray that it KOs, pray that this is like a hyper offensive array. I get a crit of my own. I go for the Supercell. Unfortunately, my opponent lives and they go for Psyshock, which again, just steals me the game. So it is very sad, unfortunately. Regieleki goes down and I'm like, well, obviously I lose to Greninja now. I go into Colossal here and I go for a Heat Crash, just praying that I can live a hit, or like pick up a KO or like do something, do something basically. So I go for Heat Crash. I could have gone for Body Press here. I think Body Press would have been the safer play. I think Body Press might have been the better play, honestly. They go for Psyshock. I'm expecting a KO here. We barely live. And Volga picks up the second KO of the match for us. Obviously besides Amoonguss. So Colossal's currently our kill leader. No other Pokemon has a kill aside from if you count Amoonguss, which I don't even know if you do in this league. I can't remember. But, obviously we lose to Gren. So, yeah, this was very much a heavy learning week for me. My opponent played extremely well, especially with SALAMENCE, and I think, obviously if I had picked up like, oh wait, that's a special SALAMENCE set, I don't know why it's the first one, but sure, I'm going to switch that out real quick. I would have realized that Goldingo was not safe in SALAMENCE, and I would have gone into my Gliscor in that scenario, and just gone for a knockoff. It's very sad, it's very unfortunate that it played out the way it did. I did not respect SALAMENCE enough. I do really wish that my Regieleki, I do kind of wish I was a special variant now. Obviously, Meloetta, it wouldn't have done anything against Meloetta, but, and I really wanted Extreme Speed because, Adamant Extreme Speed just does really well into my opponent's team, especially against Gren and Lando. But it is what it is. It made me very sad. But overall, I actually reviewed this battle afterward. I did post-commentary. And I will say, after the SALAMENCE situation, I think I did play to my outs really, really well. The SALAMENCE took me off guard, and I lost several Pokemon because of it, but I honestly think if Araquanid didn't get crit and I didn't die, then Araquanid would have gotten quite a bit of HP back, and there is a very good chance that I would have been able to at least pull it back considerably. I do, again, think Leech Life was a bit of a throw. I think I should have gone for Rest Talk and just prayed that I got the rolls that I needed. But it is what it is. Once again, I do need to say GG's to my opponent. Please be sure to check them out down in the description below. Also, consider checking out my Ko-fi page. I need to try to remember to plug that because, obviously, you get a whole extra league of battles with the MBL Monotype if you join the Jovial Jolteons tier or above. And obviously, you also get team previews. So if you want a more in-depth look at my team, then consider checking out the Ko-fi page. Again, be sure to check out my opponent down in the description below. Show them all the love and support. They're such a kind person, and I really enjoyed battling them. Hopefully, one day soon I can pick up a win against them. That would be nice. But regardless, that'll do it. Thank you all so much for watching. I really, really hope you all enjoyed this video. And we're going to bounce back week 2. I feel fully confident in that. We are going to bounce back, and it is going to be glorious. That'll do it though. Thank you all so much for watching. I really, really hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Peace out, mates!